Welcome back to Shadowrun Hong Kong. So we're back from Neville Moss party, and time to collect their pay. Nice, 4 karma. Which does that give me? I have any from before? I have 1. Is it enough to get me that more spell casting? Yes. Yes, it does. I have to add it from the stash later, but be able to add that aim 2 spell now. To be honest, I feel a little bad for messing with Neville. I kind of like the guy. I like him a lot better than the guy I worked for, Dr. Shen Yang. That guy seemed like kind of a dick, to be honest. But job's a job. I fulfilled my end of it just enough. I didn't ruin Neville any more than I had to. At least I tried not to. And layering on. And well. Hopefully Neville recovers after I collect my payment and goes on to be successful, and him and his vampire friend are happy. A diminutive female orc regards you with a sharp, challenging look. The fierceness of her expression contrasts starkly with her sweet, rounded face and neat bob. She flexes her cyber fists. She fires up a rapid fire of reproach in a thick Filipino accent. Why are you staring like that? Didn't anybody teach you manners? She plants her fists on her leather-clad hips and juts her chin out at you. Relax, I don't mean to stare. She gives you an unwavering sidelong glance. You're a stranger on my turf. I expect people to be civil to one another. No offense intended. If you insist, sure, I apologize. She blinks and her jaw unclenches. It's alright. I can tell you're a newcomer. I just feel a little protective of my part of town. The orc looks you up and down. Finally, with a gruff nod, she introduces herself. I'm Rosario Ignacio, or, to the other members of my community, Cherry Pink. I specialize in transport missions and nanny services, and I occasionally Shadowrun for walking around money. I can also fry up a mean batch of lumpia, but you can't have any unless I like you. You said you make a great lumpia. What is that exactly? Filipino spring rolls, crispy and delicious and full of pork, or whatever pork-flavored substitute is on sale. It's important to be frugal. It has suddenly become very important to me that you like me. A corner of her mouth twitches upward. She gives you a sidelong glance. Then you must earn it. Everybody wants to be my friend because everybody wants lumpia. Only a handful deserve it. How did you go from babysitting to running the shadows? Her cheeks flush. Well, I used to take care of the children of a Wujing bigwig up in the peak. Turned out she was siphoning corporate funds to support both a gambling addiction and an extravagant lifestyle. She got sloppy and I stumbled across some pretty damning documents as I was tidying the house. I couldn't unsee them, much as I wished it, and I started to fear for my life. She was growing desperate, erratic, so I ran. You didn't run too far. Why not leave Hong Kong? I couldn't go back to Manila because of those JIS scumbags. But there's always been a large community of Filipinos in the shadows. I sought them out. What happened in the Philippines that you can't go back? The Japanese imperial state happened. Supposedly, they've been in charge there for decades. I was just a little girl when they sent their imperial marines in. They destroyed my old neighborhood. I don't remember the events, but I still dream of fire to this day. Supposedly in charge, you said. The Japanese ran up against resistance from forces that came to be known as the Huck, nationalists, neo-anarchists. But the resistance ultimately gets its backing from a dragon, Masaru. While the struggle continues, the country can't heal. Never ever cut a deal with a dragon. She shrugs. Well, I haven't personally. I just want to be home. Somewhere. Well, Hioi isn't so bad. At least the people are interesting. Norwick smiles. I agree. Perhaps you may deserve Lumpia after all. No promises, though. So how'd you get your cyberware? There's always been a large community of Filipinos in the shadows. Oh, saying the same thing. Now, whenever I land a good gig, I give most of my earnings away, giving back to the community. Do you ever have regrets about leaving your old life behind? She looks away suddenly, her eyes moistening. I'm not sentimental about my old post, if that's what you mean. Dior takes a big breath and continues. But on Sundays, my only day off, I used to go and sit with the other nannies and housekeepers. We'd bring pieces of cardboard so we could sit on the ground in the shade under bridges. We'd gossip, eat lumpia and rice cake. Nothing special. But I don't belong to that world anymore. I couldn't risk word getting back to my old employer. I miss my old friends, though. Cherry Pink seems like an odd choice for a street name. She glowers at you. It's a bona fide Filipino nickname. Unless you want a mouthful of fist, you show it respect. Alright. Sorry. Let's get my payment. Dr. Shenyang. Shenyang is busily puffing away on a foul-smelling cigar, his comlic in one hand. His eyes flash with anticipatory glee as he sees you. Dr. Shenyang greets you in the name of all producers. How'd the shindig go? I've got the information you wanted. You explain the night's events, from start to finish. Oh man, does that mean I explain about Fu Fang? I would have rather not have told him about that. As you speak, Shen Yang's face grows ever more incredulous, until finally his mouth is left hanging halfway open. He slowly places the cigar in a nearby ashtray and shakes his head in disbelief. That's got to be one of the single strangest stories I've ever heard. Vampires in the TRID industry. What a nightmare. Can't believe you let that leech keep sucking on Neville. Big ace to have in his pocket. And what if she starts biting on other people, actors and whatnot? Not an optimal outcome, but I guess it's okay. You got me wrong, and that means that his show's dead. Alright, kid, I'll send payment to your Matrix drop. You earned it. Glad to be able to help. Dr. Shenyang is about to speak, but his comlink begins to buzz. Irritated, he answers it and switches to speaker mode. Yeah? Who is it? What do you want? Hello, Shenyang. I just want to let you know that I've released Penelope Wong from her contract. If you're still interested in her, she's all yours. Also, I hope your business is doing alright. I'd heard you had some problems with cash flow. If you need a loan, I'd be happy to help. Dr. Shenyang eyes the image of Neville Ma with deep suspicion. You don't sound too mad, Nev. What's the catch here, anyway? You must have the next big thing lined up already. Oh, Doctor. There's no need for it. Do you want to know why I keep winning our little contests, and you're always playing catch-up? It's because you think people like Miss Wong actually matter. They don't. Stars are crafted, molded out of talent, yes, but ultimately constructed. With enough time and effort, anyone can be made into a star. It's just a question of manipulating public perception. Maybe so. But I got her now. And your show's dead in the water about to start. What do you think of that, eh? I think that I'm going to do what any good soap opera producer would do. Write her character out with a tragic death and bring on someone new. You labor under the misapprehension that viewers have loyalty. They don't. They have only appetite. As long as you chase stars like Wong, you will lose. Don't be afraid to think bigger, Doctor. Reach for the drama, not the dramatists. With that, Neville Ma hangs up on Dr. Shenyang. For the next 30 seconds, Dr. Shenyang releases a stream of violently imaginative invectives at his phone. Even Strangler Bao looks taken aback at the ferocity of Shenyang's anger and the inventiveness of the sexual positions that he describes. Finally, he takes a deep breath and composes himself. That dirty little weasel, insulting my creativity like that. The nerve! Go on, kid. We're done here. Thanks for all your help, but I gotta get going. I gotta talk to a guy about buying a bunch of snakes. Oh, Dr. Shenyang. Worst of luck to you, you scumbag. Auntie Chang, how are you? Alright, she's doing other things. Okay, time for me to get some rest. Which I am assuming will move along the dream story and maybe let me talk to Crafty Zhu again. But let's sell off some pay data first. I should have some come in. 2 unread messages. Urgent task. Little birds have been whispering in my ear about an urgent and high-paying run. Steel Arm Lu, a red pole, managed to get his hands on information concerning a prototype laser weapon in development by Ares Asia Holdings. For years, the Yellow Lotus and the Red Dragon have been locked in Cold War. Despite this, we remain evenly matched. Neither one of us can attack the other without being exposed to devastating reprisals. Lu wants to change this, and he has a plan. Rather than strike directly, Lu intends to aim external forces at the Red Dragon, specifically Knight-Errant. He intends to frame a white paper fan named Golden Fawn, making it appear that the Red Dragon have been bribing Ares research for classified data. 2 leading drone and energy weapons researchers have recently transferred from London to Hong Kong and are running the project. Doctors Taylor and Hardingham were respected in Europe, but in Hong Kong they remain unknown quantities. They're untrusted and therefore are considered untrustworthy. Perfect targets, in other words. We will provide data that will make it look as if the researchers were contacted by Golden Fog and made quite a bit of money, but grew tired of the agreement. Transfer the attached files to a data chip. The files are bundled with a worm program which will auto-execute when inserted into the appropriate systems. You need not bring a Decker, though one may be helpful. You will need to plant data in the visitor record system. The camera systems in Hardingham and Taylor's lab, financial data is to be transferred to Dr. Taylor's personal terminal. That in and of itself will not be enough to ensure Knight-Errant involvement, however. Planting the data is only the first part of your task. This is where a heavier touch will be required. You will also need to steal the prototype laser weapon. There's a GPS tracking device attached to it, which Lu will plant deep in Red Dragon territory. The apparent theft of a prototype weapon by a disgruntled triad member should convince Ares to dispatch overwhelming force against the Red Dragon, dealing them a vicious blow. As a note, Lu does not care what becomes of the laser weapon. If you wish to sell it or keep it, feel free. I have also attached a map of your extraction route from the building. During the facility's expansion in 2052, Ares Asia was forced to extend their foundations deeper into the island. They drove piles through their former site of the central MTR station, which partially collapsed during the Dalu Bay earthquake of 2044. Practically, this means that you can exit through the basement, directly onto the new MTR line through Central. With any luck, you can be gone without anyone knowing. Unfortunately, this route is heavily alarmed, so you will be forced to go in the front door. If you can con the front desk, you should have no problems. The facility is both an office and a residence, so strange people coming and going at odd hours is not unusual. If If you're up for fast talk, however, if you're not up for fast talk, however, be prepared to shoot your way in. Lou does not care if you are loud or quiet, but a word of caution. He came by all this information via loose lips of one of the research team. Other fixers know of the job. Move fast and you are guaranteed success, but there are definitely other Shadowrunners with an eye on the prize. I want to do it, but just not yet. I want to get some rest, please. Restaurant job. One of the things I've learned over the years is that even the rich and powerful have annoyances, thorns in their side, if you will. No one is without troubles. The rich just have different ways of solving them. The client for this run has grown tired of one of the particular thorn in his side. Shang Sing Rooster Lo. Lo is a red po for one of the smaller triads here in Hong Kong, the 289s, or the Easy Money Gang if you prefer. Despite the 289's small stature, Lo's illegal activities have managed to damage the client's profits. Mr. Johnson would like you to help him show Lo the error of his ways. Lo takes an evening every few months to dine at Shangri-La restaurant at Aberdeen. If you aren't aware, the Shangri-La is an elite establishment serving primarily corporate clientele from Wujing Incorporated. Because of this, it's not unusual for diners to bring bodyguards or assistants with them. In Lo's case, he brings a particularly brutish enforcer known as the Talon, and undoubtedly feels well protected. You are going to prove just how wrong he is in this regard. You are to kidnap Rooster Lo. So long as he is alive and in relatively good health, all options are on the table. While keeping the run quiet would make things easier for Mr. Johnson, no one will shed too many tears over a few dead triad thugs. The client has arranged an exit via boat. So long as you can get Lo from the interior to the restaurant's dock, the client will handle everything else. Despite being a red pole, Lo is a tactician, not a fighter. Don't expect him to put up much of a fight. The Talon, on the other hand, is as nasty as they come. Be careful about how you confront him, or things may go very badly. Now let's get my payment. $432. Alright, not bad. Now let's post some pay data. Instruction plans. Good. And we're good for now. Let's catch a little bit of shut-eye. You wake with a start. Once again, you've tangled in your sheets, drenched in sweat. Your throat feels like it's on fire. You can't remember what your dreams were about, not precisely, but again, you feel that yearning sensation, the emptiness in your gut and in your chest. Your head throbbing, you heave yourself out of bed. Let's go talk to Crafton. Actually, let's go down here and talk with my man Ractor for a bit. Welcome back, my friend. What can I do for you? You said you used to work for a corp. Whose payroll were you on? He sighs. That is something of a sore subject. My departure was involuntary, you see. I did not part ways with my employer under the best terms. I will tell you that I worked for Grishin Aviacor, but you'll forgive me if I don't want to go into detail. Got some interesting machinery in here, not the kind that you typically see outside of a corporate setting. He smiles. The same could be said of many in Hioi, I'm sure. This is a smuggler's den, is it not? I think I've done this one before. Our entire economy is based on people having things they shouldn't. Is there a particular device that interests you, out of curiosity? I'm mostly interested in the drone that you have there. Koschei? Ah. But my friend, you are wrong. You will never find his like in any corporate factory or lab. He is mine, my own creation. from the top of his sensor cluster to the tips of his claws. I designed him, fabricated his components, and built him by hand. Impressive, he shrugs. No more so than anyone who follows his passion perfects his craft. Keeping all this machinery running can't be cheap. How can you afford it? Freelance. At the risk of sounding immodest, I've commodified myself rather well. There are always corporations in need of design consultations. You'd be surprised by how lucrative such work can be, and there is always other work that I can turn to in a pinch. You said you did other work besides consulting. Care to tell me what kind? He pauses, and for a second something flashes in his eye. Koschei lowers its body into a crouch. A rather personal question, wouldn't you say? Yeah, I'm gonna push it. Maybe, but then we're having a personal conversation. Indeed we are. But even in personal conversations, certain topics can be held off limits. Truth be told, I don't feel especially comfortable discussing my side of work with relative strangers. Suffice to say that my freelance activities often fall on the illicit end of the spectrum. Tell you what, I'm just going to guess. You're a Shadowrunner, aren't you? He gives you a shallow nod. I dislike the term, but yes, I run the shadows. What gave me away? Design consultants live in apartments in Victoria Harbor. You're living in a rusted-out boat in Eloy. There's got to be a reason for that. He shrugs. You are correct, of course. The residents of shadow communities are usually either too poor to live elsewhere or engage in behaviors too illicit to risk it. I will admit to being in the latter camp. Designing robotics is my passion, but it doesn't always pay the bills. He runs a hand over Koschei's armored chassis, caressing the sculpted metal with his fingertips. My status as a foreigner has proven something of an impediment in this regard. And so, sorry as I may be to say it, the lion's share of my income flows from Koschei's aptitude for butchery. Such is life, I suppose. We do what we must for what we love. Seems like everybody on this boat runs the shadows. Why not pool our resources and work together? He purses his lips, considering. A compelling offer. I'm doing quite well on my own, but I must admit there are certain jobs for which I am unsuited. Magic eludes me. Hey, that's what I do. And I am not a decker. Well, Ace has got that covered. My strength comes from material objects in the real world. Solid things with mass and heft. Things that I can build and operate. Sadly, a great many clients are only interested in teams that display a mastery over the intangible. This group of yours, do you have people who could cover those bases? If so, then perhaps we can help each other out. Yep, we've also got a former security expert. I guess that's the best way to describe Duncan. In that case, I will accept your offer on a provisional basis. We'll do a few runs together and see how we get on. If our association bears fruit, it will continue. If not, I will bid you my farewell and go back to working alone. How does that sound? Welcome aboard. Very good. Excellent. When you receive a job, you know where to find me. My skills and resources are at your disposal. And with that, I am afraid I must bid you a good day. I still have work to do down here. This leg assembly won't clean itself. I'll be in touch. Looking forward to working with you. And I with you. Nice. Nice. I wonder if he's a runner I have to pay for, or if he's like my regular team where they just come free. I'm definitely going to take him on my next run. Depending on what the job entails. If I can bring 3, I cover the magic end. I'll probably wind up... well, if decking... I'm probably gonna bring is... I might leave Duncan out. Since he's a rigger. With a drone, he can cover the shooty part of it pretty well. But we'll see. Make that decision when the time comes. Alright, let's go see Crafty. I've got some more money. I might purchase some spells from her if she's got anything new. Oh, she's in a different spot now. Hey, Crafty. A heavy scent buffets your senses. The scent of pure, unadulterated book. Woody, musky, dusty. The light herbal essence from before seems like an afterthought in the wake of paper smell. Looking around, you see that the shopkeeper has abandoned her earlier feeble attempts at organizing the texts. Several of the towers of books are now reduced to piles on the ground. A piece of paper, caught somehow in a ceiling rafter, rustles gently above you. Crafty, you in? You hear a shuffling of papers. An arm rolls out from under a pile of blankets and books, and Crafty raises her head, a notebook spread open on top of it. The book topples to the floor. Oh, hey! Her voice cracks. Oh, Crafty, you need to get some rest. I appreciate all the digging you're doing, but don't kill yourself over it. Crafty clears her throat with a cough and stumbles out of her pile. Her voice is clear when she speaks again. Sorry about the mess. I was up all night reading, or rather, up every night reading. She stretches. You look dog-tired. Feeling all right? Crafty lets out a single sharp laugh. I've been better, if that's what you mean. Going through these notebooks has been hard, not just because of the sheer amount of information. It's been a nostalgic ride, too. If these journals are kicking your ass, you can always stop. Your health comes first. No way. I've dug myself too deep to back out now. And I don't say that as a bad thing. I've made progress. I'm proud of that. She leans on a book-covered chair. The sooner I figure out these dreams, the sooner I can rest. And trust me, Rubik, I'll make up for it in spades. And naps. Just don't work yourself to death. That wouldn't achieve much, would it? And it isn't all bad. These journals are just as exciting as they are laborious. So what's the latest? The latest. She walks over to a glass table and starts tossing books off of it. As she digs through them, you realize that the table is not actually a table, but a glass display case full of dried medicinal ingredients. Crafty withdraws a notebook from the pile. Its binding unraveling, the pages holding on for dear life. Here we go. This one's loaded. The suspense is killing me. Got a couple big finds. Mom's notes are a mess, so I boiled them down to the most important information. An exorcism and the Yama Kings. Where do you want to start? Well, tell me about the exorcism. She flips through the notebook and after locating the right page, lays the book on the counter. Her index fingers glides across the notes as she summarizes its contents. On one of Mom's trips through Walled City, she decided to check out an archway, an old crumbling relic that residents believed to be haunted. Mom wasn't sure about the hauntings, but upon entering the area, she immediately felt that it was a place of concentrated ki. Go on. The ki wasn't like your standard run-of-the-mill energy. Even for the Walled City, this ki was exceptionally dark, and it all seemed to gravitate toward the arch. So she did what any cook of her magic brand would try, a Taoist exorcism. Not my first choice. Nor mine, but it was my mother's. Now don't get me wrong, Mom's methods may have been dated, but she was a skilled mage. Unfortunately, the exorcism failed, and with its failure something happened to her. She broke. My mother had entered the city strong, confident, and capable, but when she left that day, it's hard to explain. It's as if the experience left her vulnerable to those base horrors within the walled city. She grew paranoid and became frail of mind and body, a mere shadow of her former self. It's as if she'd witnessed something, and it changed her. She became more obsessed than ever, and that's how I remember her now, as that broken woman. I'm not sure how this fits into our investigation, but If that sort of malevolence is coursing through the walled city, it's no wonder that people who live there experience such terrible dreams. Alright, tell me about the Yama Kings. Crafty turns to a page marked with a red sticky note. She looks up at you. Tell me, how much do you know about the Yama Kings? Never heard of them. Personally, I'd only heard about the Yama Kings in fables and myths. Things to scare children to sleep, to inspire awe. As you can guess, intimate knowledge about imaginary beings is largely non-existent. And here, she taps the page, we found the demons of the walled city. Through my mother's excursions into the slums, she came to learn that its residents have their own unique Yama Kings, different from the traditional ones. The people there are segregated from the rest of Hong Kong. Over time, they came to believe that their home was possessed by local demons. Makes sense, considering the place's penchant for crime and disaster. Interesting. What were they like? There were three that Mom knew of. Lam V, Fu Mang, and Qian Ya. Each Yama King is associated with the negative energy on which they feed. Lam V feeds from cowards, Fu Mang from the guilty, and Qian Ya slaves. Unfortunately, my mother's handwriting declined with her sanity. She rubs her forehead in frustration. She has a lot of details in here about these local Yama Kings, but I could only make out bits and parts. There's a list. Something here about her mouth twists sideways and her eyes squint, straining to read the notes. Rules? Maybe laws of some sort. The thing that stood out to me is here. She plops a finger onto the page. It's about the propriety surrounding ownership in deals, exchanges, negotiations. Luncheons? No, that last part can't be right. Anyway, it says the Yama Kings, under rules of laws, must adhere to the terms of a deal. They can't give an inch without losing everything. She sighs and flips the paper onto the counter. Can't read anything past that. You know, it's strange to me that Mom found these mystical beings significant enough to mention in her documents. It makes me wonder if she thought they were real, or connected to the curse that she believed in. A thump, and Crafty closes the notebook. She casually tosses it back onto the display case. It's not the best lead, but I think that it's a step in the right direction. Alright, well, let me, think you can send me a copy of those notes? Crafty taps her finger to her nose. Already a step ahead of you. I just finished digitally transcribing the information. I'll send it to your, she looks around the book-covered shop. As soon as I found my terminal. That'd be great. Appreciate it. You're welcome. Expect them soon. Alright, let's see your wares. You get anything new and crafty? Oh, ha ha ha! Yes! Yes, a much more powerful version of Powerball. Ooh, and I just happen to have the Spellcasting 5. Sweet, she's got new stock. Did we get new gear? Yeah, she got Corp Mage armor, an armored secure coat, and suit created for awakened Corpsec operatives. Alright, well, it's only better armor. It doesn't actually give any special bonuses. And this, Thaumaturgic armor, a well-armored synth leather vest with pockets for foci, fetishes, and spells. Now, this is much better armor. So I didn't think about that. But I definitely want the more powerful Powerball. Yes. That is nice. 13 damage is significant. Alright. 2,700 to work with. I'll buy a few things, then sell some stuff off. Okay. Not enough. And spellcasting 6 for addition. Additional magic has been channeled into this spell, causing the effect radius to increase. Its explosion does ongoing 7 hit point damage for 2 rounds. Which is a cooldown of other fireball spells. Stun ball. Does negative -1 AP, and I'm going -1 AP the last 2 rounds. It's not bad. Stun Bolt. Of course, I don't have enough spellcasting for any of these distractions. 3, 4. Glue. 2. Heal 2. Aim 3. I'll probably just stick with aim 2 for now. Blindness. That's pretty useful. Target is blinded, it cannot see or attack targets. It's pretty useful for 2 rounds. Essentially makes a target completely useless. I have enough to do it too. That'd be pretty useful for like really tough enemy. Basically disable them for 2 rounds, and then during those 2 rounds I can take out his cronies or other enemies, and then when they come back on, hopefully it's just them, or at least I've thinned the ranks some. Conversely, I could try to kill them while they're blinded. And distraction, so many things, but I can't afford to buy all these things. These are the spells that were there before. Here's shaman stuff. I'd love to get this hermetic fetish. This one does both willpower and spellcasting. Oh wow, that is badass. That is expensive though. If I buy that, I can't afford anything else. Wow, force 5 elementals. Man, she's got the good stuff now. Alright, let's buy this power bolt. Rid of that. This up here. No need to have Power Bolt 1 when I have Power Bolt 3. It's just a much better version. Let's see. Alright. Wild Aim. Ooh, next closest ally will also be affected. That is pretty awesome. Alright, let's sell my cheap ass power bolt. That's that cool mummy spirit that I got for letting that guy out. Hold on to that. I get 100 million for the power bolt. Sweet. Let's see what you got. Tempted to pick up this awesome armor. That is a big time step up from what I have. On the other hand, I may want to save some money to buy stuff for my other runner friends. Oh, these are too expensive. I couldn't cast Stun Bolt. I couldn't cast. Nope, can't cast Stun Bolt 2 either. This blindness I could afford this too. What do I have? What could I get rid of? Because I wouldn't have enough room to put it into my spells. If I were to get it. Kind of like everything I have. Although Mana Bolt is no longer all that useful now that I have this much more powerful Power Bolt. Suppose I usually have a better chance to hit with it, and it does armor pierce, but I don't know if the armor piercing would make up for the far larger amount of damage that Power Bolt does. So I might get rid of Mana Bolt 1. I still have Acid Stream. Just cool because it strips armor. I might get rid of this actually. The damage altogether is 15. It's not too bad actually. It strips armor. No armor piercing though. Still it strips armor, which is a bonus. Let's sell Mana Bolt. And buy blindness. Alright, cool. That's it. So maybe a new deck. There is. Maybe some new weapons for Duncan. Let's just hold on to the money for now. So I don't have that much left. Maybe after the next job, I'll buy up some more stuff. Alright. Alright, I guess it's time to take another job. Definitely want to take Raptor along now. Still not sure which job I want to take. And I'll make that decision next time. So next episode we'll start right off the bat. Just take a job right away. I'll make up my mind and then we'll go on another run.